Todd DeVries here, the college football geek from collegefootballgeek.com, and of course Football Nation, here to bring you the top 5 wide receiver prospects in the upcoming NFL draft. Let's get started at number 5, Alshon Jeffrey, 6'3", 216-pounder from South Carolina. He is prototypical NFL size, but he's a bit of a wild card, folks. He has the upside to be in maybe the number 2 position on our list, but he's had some off-the-field issues. His production really dropped this year. He went from 88 receptions and 1,500 yards in 2010 to 49 receptions and 762 yards this year. He hasn't run yet for the pro scouts. His weight has been fluctuating up and down. Someone to keep an eye on. He could rise up the draft boards if he can impress the scouts over the next month. Alshon Jeffrey, number 5. At number 4, Stephen Hill from Georgia Tech. And my goodness, the Rambling Wreck have been producing numerous NFL talent at the wide receiver position. Pretty interesting considering they run an option-based offense. Not a lot of opportunities for those wide receivers. But you look at Calvin Johnson, Megatron. You look at Demaryius Thomas from the Broncos. He had a huge playoff run, a youngster who has a lot of promise in his future. And now you add to that Stephen Hill, another big, fast wide receiver, 6'4", 215 pounds. He ran one of the fastest 40 times of all the wide receivers at the Combine. Only 28 catches last year in that offense, folks. But he averaged 29.3 yards per catch. Now, Stephen Hill is probably one of the faster risers of the draft. Look for him to go in the second round coming up in April. At number 3 on our list, Kendall Wright from Baylor. He was RG3's top receiving threat all of 2011. Only 5'10", 196, and he ran a disappointing 40 time given his size at the Combine, which didn't help him in the minds of scouts. But he caught 108 balls last year, 1,663 yards, 14 receptions. He is a deep threat. I'm not going to put too much stock in his Combine time. I saw what he did on the field. He can produce. I still think he lands in the late first round. He might drop to the early second round. I like Kendall Wright. We have him number 3 on our list. Coming in at number 2, Michael Floyd from Notre Dame. And no receiver helped himself more and cemented himself in his draft slot than Floyd did at the Combine. 6'3", 220-pounder. Big-bodied wide receiver. You don't typically think about speed with him, but he ran a very surprising 4.47 40 at the Combine. He is entrenched himself as a middle first-round draft pick. In South Bend last year, he caught 100 balls for 1,147 yards, 9 touchdowns. He had some off-the-field issues throughout his college career, which the scouts are going to have to keep an eye on. But Michael Floyd right now, firmly entrenched, is our number 2 wide receiver. And coming in at our number 1 spot is no surprise, Justin Blackmon from Oklahoma State. 6'1", 207 pounds, not overly big. He also isn't really a speedster. He ran well at his pro day, but he's not known for blazing speed. But he does everything well. He's a gamer. He caught 121 balls last year, 1,522 receiving yards, 18 receiving touchdowns. Those are insane numbers. And especially when you consider in 2010, he put up even better numbers. So they played a little bit of a gimmicky offense at Oklahoma State, a little something to be concerned about. If you think about Michael Crabtree from Texas Tech, he did the same thing, really hasn't translated too well into the NFL. He hasn't lived up to his high draft pick. So we'll see what Blackmon can do here. I don't think he's the next Larry Fitzgerald. He's definitely not the next Megatron, but he should be a very solid wide receiver for years to come, depending on where he lands in the NFL draft. For Football Nation and collegefootballgeek.com, I'm Todd DeVries.